a challenge that we all have this year, and it's cast a long shadow over the CTOS meeting, is the departure of somebody who meant so much to SARC and, in fact, so much to SAS. He was going to have 2 new sessions in the SAS meeting this year. And, of course, for those of you who know him, I'm speaking to Brian Van Tine. For those who don't, it's hard to convey how odd it is, how weird that the person amongst us who was the most full of life had such a sudden and unfortunate and early departure. And it's a situation this past week, but we kind of knew it was coming from the past month or so, that we're all trying to come to grips with. What we wanted to do, I mean, Brian's roles, like many things that he was involved with SARC, were manifold. He was the co-chair of the clinical trialist working group. He himself was the recipient of a 3-year SARC Career Development Award, for which he was profoundly grateful. And he repaid that by being an incredibly diligent member of the Career Development Review Committee. And then I've already spoken to his presence and his contributions at the SAS meeting. We've only had 2 SAS meetings, but the first one, there were 2 memorable incidents. One involved Brian, and not everybody was aware of it, but I was, and wonderful. And the last one, I think there was in the whole meeting only one really memorable incident, and of course, not surprisingly, that involved Brian. He was exuberant, he was brilliant, he was constantly coming up with new ideas, he loved connecting with people, and he's simply irreplaceable. And given what he means to all of us, we've asked 2 individuals to come and speak to us. The first is Kurt Weiss, who is a contemporary of Brian's, as Brian was beginning his remarkable sarcoma program at WashU in St. Louis. Kurt was fostering a new program at University of Pittsburgh. They were colleagues and comrades in that sense. And then Angie Herby, who at WashU was Brian's mentee initially, and then ultimately partner in the sarcoma program, and who can't be here at CTOS, has written a tribute that Brian's good friend Bree Wilkie will read after Kurt speaks. Thanks, Kurt.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everybody. Kurt Weiss from the University of Pittsburgh. I'm on the SARC Scientific Steering Committee. Thanks again, Seth, for hosting us at the last meeting, doing us that solid. Dr. Fletcher asked me to share a few thoughts on Professor Van Tine. That was largely an arbitrary choice. I volunteered, and really there are dozens of people in the room who could speak to the singular brilliance, energy, and passion of BVT. I had the image on Monday of Brian, after being in heaven for a couple of days, requesting a personal audience with God so that he could offer some suggestions on how the place might be improved. And God said, "Those are terrific ideas. Thanks, BVT." How often have we all said that? That was a great idea. Thanks, Brian. As Dr. Fletcher mentioned, Brian and I were of a similar vintage. We both got our first big boy jobs around the same time. He was awarded a grant by the Sarcoma Foundation of America in 2011, but the funding came from Pittsburgh Cure Sarcoma. So Brian came to Pittsburgh to personally thank us for the grant. He was the only one who did that. And he and I became very, very fast friends and encouraged each other as we tried to build translational sarcoma research programs at our respective shops. Luckily for the people at WashU, but unfortunately for the people at Pitt, Brian had more talent in the small finger of his non-dominant hand than I do in my whole body. But to be fair, I think many of us would make that assessment. Years later, I returned the favor by making a visit to WashU, and I made it safely to St. Louis, but my bag did not. So Brian constructed an ensemble consisting of a tie of his, pants from his husband Josh, a shirt from Cara Cipriano's husband, Phil, and socks and underwear from Dr. Regis O'Keefe. So I was quite literally bedecked in the generosity of my friends. And Brian and I laughed a lot about that. More recently, in fact, at this meeting last year in San Diego, Brian and I talked a lot about our shared love for this odd, beautiful, wonderful universe of sarcoma research and treatment. This was certainly Brian's home, medically and scientifically. But for Brian, it ran much deeper than that. He loved SARC and CTOS and us like we were family members. We were his people, and he was very much our guy. So this was also his home, personally, intellectually, and dare I say, spiritually. We're very spoiled people. I don't think many people get to say that they truly love their professional societies and the people in them. Brian did. He loved us and we loved him right back. He made it easy. As we move forward, stumbling around in the dark without his light, I think we can honor him by taking a page from his book and never taking this community or each other for granted. He so treasured his time with us, and we should do the same. Whether you're going to the reception in a couple hours or going out with friends or spending some very badly needed alone time, get yourself a beverage. If you're looking for suggestions, Dr. Van Tine was very fond of red wine. And smile through your tears and celebrate with gratitude the extraordinary life of Professor Brian Van Tine, whose like we shall not see again. May his life be a blessing. Till we meet again, my friend. May God hold you in the palm of his hand.
So on behalf of Angie Herbie, I'm delighted and honored to read her tribute. Physician, scientist, mentor, friend. There are so many words to describe Brian, but none can fully capture who he was. I know that I would not be where I am today without him. I still remember staffing my very first sarcoma consult with him on the inpatient service the day he convinced me to spend time in his clinic. From that moment, I was hooked. Even in his first year as faculty, Brian somehow found the time to help me, a first-year fellow, write my very first clinical trial. Throughout my fellowship, I embedded myself in his clinic and learned from one of the very best. He was a mentor and a big brother wrapped into one, a brilliant mind paired with a caring soul and a quirky sense of humor that kept everything real. Many of our clinic prep meetings were joyfully derailed by spirited discussions about wine or spontaneous movie clips. Those moments made the work lighter and life richer. Brian had a vision. I watched him put WashU on the map in the world of sarcoma, building an extraordinary program and assembling an equally extraordinary team. He was a fierce advocate for his patients, his colleagues, and his friends. When I was diagnosed with breast cancer while 33 weeks pregnant, I called him simply to say I'd be missing clinic for a bit to figure things out. Within minutes, he was sitting with my husband and me, having already gathered the head of maternal fetal medicine and a breast oncologist to develop a plan. That was Brian. When someone needed help, he showed up. I wish we could have done more for him. I wish there had been a way. The world has lost a brilliant mind far too soon, but his legacy will live on through the countless people he taught, inspired, and cared for. We'll keep moving forward, one foot in front of the other, but things will never be the same. I'll never again be able to step out of my office to share exciting data with you, or have you pop your head into mine to do the same. So many days over these past 2 months, I've looked towards the doorway to my office and teared up. I will miss him dearly, and so will many others. To Brian, I can never fill your shoes, and I would not try, but I will do my best to honor your legacy, to support your lab, and see your trainees through to their next destination. And our sarcoma team will continue the amazing program you built. Until we meet again, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Bree. Thank you, Kurt. Let's have a moment of silence for Brian. And two things I'm going to add. One's mundane, one's scientific, okay, is that when Brian stepped into the field with his focus on targeting metabolic vulnerabilities, he filled a void that we didn't really know existed. But when he's departed us, it's reestablished a void that we're all too well aware of. So, I mean, we are going to miss him and mourn him and celebrate him and be inspired by Brian for a very long time. And the other is the mundane. You know, this was the well-known photo of Brian, and it's the one you'll see a sketch version of in X. But I was looking online and I realized Brian can't be captured. You know, to be in Brian's presence, his expressions, his warmth, his excitement, the photos don't get you at that at all. So, I mean, just for anybody who looks him up, I'm just saying that's an approximation of Brian, but the remarkable singular person we're talking about had to be probably conveyed in person.